Hey guys, this is Camfrey15 and I'm back at it with another video for you guys, and I'm back with some ReZero. Man, this episode, dude. This episode not only, I guess, foreshadows what we could be getting in the future of this storyline. I'm guessing only the manga and the light novel readers, the web novel people only know. Because, again, like I said, you know, we don't know if we're gonna get a season 3, but then again, what would I say? White Fox would be making a mistake if they did not give ReZero fans who love the anime and also are anime onlys season 3 announcement at the end of season 2. But this episode definitely foreshadows what's left to come, and then even also with that cliffhanger of the real reason why the sanctuary was, I guess you can say created, in terms of Roswell and stuff like that. So it was a pretty good episode. We finished off the Emilia backstory in this episode, which was pretty damn emotional. We see how Betelgeuse became Betelgeuse. So let's get into it. And first thing I gotta say is this. I think we can all, and I mean all, finally breathe a whole sigh of relief, because we can finally, and I mean finally, just say, we did it. We got it. We finally did it. Thank you, White Fox. They finally gave us the opening. They finally gave us the opening and still gave us a 30-minute episode. They still gave us a 30-minute episode with this opening. So I like the opening. The song for the opening I do like, but when I saw the look like the Subaru Emilia kiss, I'm like, wait, what the hell's going on here? And then I heard the opening theme. I'm like, they're playing the opening. Oh, thank God. Finally, about time we can stop asking the question if they're coming out with the opening. Are they going to have the opening in the last episode of the season? No, they give it to us. And I'm guessing they're like, okay, you guys waited like 4 or 5 weeks to get the opening. Here's the opening. So the episode starts off and we get the opening to start, well, after some more backstory stuff, which again, cool. And what a lot of people predict is the reason why they didn't show the opening is so they didn't really spoil, or what it looks like it didn't really spoil some things. Yeah, honestly, the only thing that it seems like the opening spoils really is, I'm guessing, how the arc will end. They did show the Great Rabbit and potentially how that might be defeated. As well as it seems like our characters will somehow get back to the mansion. And it looks like in that opening too, Garfield will be fighting Elsa. So those are really the only spoilers I saw from the opening, but again, very minimal. I think they only did that because, again, most of that opening had pertaining, or some mentions to the Emilia backstory, and they probably wanted to freaking be like, okay, we're gonna give you, we're close to ending this backstory, and there's nothing really else to see. But I thought the opening was cool. I like the song. So again, put in the comment section your thoughts on the opening and stuff like that. Anyways, let's get into the episode. And obviously where we last left off, Pandora, the Witch of Vanity, essentially was confronting Emilia at the gate. And essentially Pandora, she essentially kind of tries to tempt Emilia into opening the gate in this scene. Like, she's getting up close to her ears and stuff like that too. Well, even though Emilia's a little girl, to Pandora, she is tall. Now Pandora, she says, like, listen, I don't want to hurt anybody. I just want you to open up the seal and stuff like that. And we still don't know what's in this seal, and everything. So, essentially, she goes on to say that what she seeks is the reason why she came to the forest is she seeks to see the seal. And then 2, she calls Emilia the witch's daughter, which is very interesting that she called somebody, something, she called a younger Emilia something related to the witch's daughter, which we know that people, especially in season 1, called her, you look similar to the freaking, Witch of Envy, or, and stuff like that. Now, what we see later is as Emilia gets closer, she kind of looks into her hand, and next thing you know, a key freaking appears in her hand. And I'm like, what is going on here? Pandora essentially says that it is only given to one who is qualified to possess that type of key. And I'm like, what? And the thing is, Emilia can see the key. Pandora can't see the key. So clearly, Pandora already knows, huh? She's got the key, huh? Okay. Why don't you unlock the gate and stuff like that, or break the seal and stuff like that? Now, what happens is Amelia's kind of hesitant. And essentially, she's like, I can't do it because, I made a promise to, Mother Fortuna not to freaking do this and just run away. And essentially, this is when Pandora kind of makes, I guess you can say, two decisions for her to make. She's like, well, you don't have to open it and I'll leave willingly and I'll go away. Or you can open it up and give me what you want and you won't have anybody get hurt or something like that, which I don't know what that means. It's kind of weird the way she said it. It's like, you have these two options, both the options, the end result is you leave. But I feel like the first option you just said is like, well, I feel like you're just going to attack regardless and stuff like that. But Emilia essentially makes her decision. She's like, I'm not going to open the gate because I made my promise and stuff like that. And essentially, this would lead into the next part of the backstory. She's like, all right, where Pandora's like, I can respect that. You want to have a promise set to your mother, obviously. I can respect that. And I'm like, okay, then why don't you get out of here? Well, we see later why she doesn't get out of here. And essentially, Mother Fortuna shows up and she starts attacking Pandora over and over again. Pandora, as we saw from last week, in terms of what she did with Regulus, she's apparently, she's either A, moving super fast, or she's immortal as hell. I don't know what the hell she is. But she keeps coming back and she's like telling Fortuna, like, why can't we just talk this out? Come on, let's just talk this out. Let's discuss. You don't have to be so angry at me. I feel like this, everything's going on and stuff like that. And it comes to a point where, Pandora thinks, or Pandora, puts on like, puts on like, I guess, a fake image in Fortuna's head, or, essentially, I guess you can say, see what it looks like to be Emilia, it's actually Pandora. And because of it, it makes Pandora look like she slapped Emilia. And she's like, Emilia, and then it turns out to actually be Pandora. Well, Emilia's still at the gate, which we see later what happens to Betelgeuse. And yeah, so it also seems like Pandora has the powers to make illusions of people, around you that you care dearly about. Which is pretty messed up because you could be attacking someone, which again I'll get into later, and do something wrong, and you may think, oh, guess what? That's Pandora, but actually, you realize at the last second you hit the person you care about. But yeah, and eventually, Pandora's like, listen, your daughter essentially made the promise. So, not to open the gate, so you should go respect her wishes. And, you have this emotional moment where she kind of hugs Emilia again, and, she's saying thank you for, listening to the promise, and thank you for being a good girl and everything. And then this is when shit gets crazy. Because what happens next is Betelgeuse comes out of nowhere when it looks like Fortuna's going to try to also attack Pandora again. Zeus shows up. This dude has bloodshot eyes. I kid you not. His eyes are red. And when it looks like Zeus is going to attack Pandora, he actually, with his unseen hand, essentially impales Fortuna, thinking that it was Pandora. So essentially, Pandora did the same exact thing to Zeus that she did to Fortuna, which, damn, I should have saw it coming, because I'm like, this is what happens when he turns into Betelgeuse, which, by the end of the episode, that's the reason why he turns into Betelgeuse. He killed the one he loved the most, which is kind of very fucking tragic. Like, it's very tragic and stuff like that. And, Pandora tells Betelgeuse, like, you said you used that, witch's factor, and you essentially sacrificed your soul to save the one you loved. And I'm like, dog, that's crazy. And you see his eyes start to bleed and everything, and he's just losing it. And I'm like, he just turned into Betelgeuse, didn't he? I'm like, that's why he always talked about love and all this other stuff. You know, along with all the other mumbo jumbo he was talking about. He killed his own, he killed probably his only lover, the person he loved, the person he had affection for. And now I saw that, I was utterly shocked. I was like, yo, what? So too, you have the emotional, goodbye, scene between not Amelia and Pandora, Emilia and Fortuna, and the crazy thing is, she's watching her motherly figure die in her arms, and more importantly, she has like her blood on her face, essentially, and stuff like that. So what happens after that is Fortuna dies in a very emotional scene. Heck, even when they focus on her eyes, it looks like she's looking into the light, or looking into the light. She can see the light. She's going up to heaven, or something like that. And she essentially apologizes to her brother and her sister-in-law, which are Amelia's parents, the fact that she couldn't live up to what they wanted her to do and stuff like that. So after she passes away, Emilia literally starts attacking Pandora, and she's like, die, 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 die. You get your drift. And we get the information, we find out who really froze the forest. If you watch the Frozen Bond special, again, spoilers, if you haven't seen it, because now at this point, after you see this episode, I guess you can say, yes, still watch it, because it's still a good special. But honestly, if you're trying to find the mystery of who froze the forest, well, it's kind of answered here. Emilia, because she kind of lost control of her powers, which we do see in the Frozen Bond special too. At some point, she does lose control of her power, and stuff like that. She essentially freezes herself, and she puts herself in a sleep-like stating, which we find out she's the person who froze all the other people and all the other elves in our little village and stuff like that. So yeah, and then Pandora's like, don't worry, one of these days I'll come back for you, and you will open the seal for me. And that's when she kind of walks off and everything, and she whispers something into Betelgeuse's ear, and then Betelgeuse just walks with her and just laughs like the Betelgeuse we know from season 1. And I'm guessing that's from the point on he went to the Betelgeuse, which was pretty freaking disturbing and evil, and did all those horrific attacks and stuff like that. Don't know how his skin changed or anything, but that might have been, a thing, after that whole situation with the sloth witch factor, essentially. So yeah, that's we now get the understanding of what happened to Betelgeuse. That's kind of messed up. Again, it seems like Pandora has that power to like essentially do what she says, and Betelgeuse just sided with her and just went with her and stuff like that. And that's kind of where that freaking happened and stuff like that. So yeah, now we know. Yeah, like I said, the forest is completely frozen. You have Emilia and Echidna talk to each other, and essentially, this is when Echidna's like, well, you saw your entire backstory. The question is, are you going to reject it, or are you going to accept it, essentially? And essentially, Emilia goes into discussion talking about, yes, I had all these events happen to me, but, I'm going to, and essentially, her goal is she wants to essentially unfreeze the people in that old village of hers, and eventually tell them to their faces how sorry she is, and tell them, how the world is and everything. Now, the interesting thing Echidna does mention, she's like, well, yeah, I think that's hard to do, because the one thing about the whole fact is that old forest you used to live in, yeah, that's kind of covered by the Black Serpent. So again, that's another reference that I'm guessing when they want to get into this whole arc where Emilia wants to go save her old village, the next great mob beast they're going to have to deal with is the Black Serpent. And we don't even know what the Black Serpent looks like. All we know is what the Black Serpent apparently looks like venom, essentially, like just a sludge controlling parasite symbiote type of thing, like venom. We don't know. I think people in the web novel say that it doesn't even have a design of what it really looks like. Even though there are people posting art of what the Great Serpent looks like, apparently people are saying that's not what it looks like. So that's gonna be very interesting. And we do know that I think they said the Black Serpent is, I don't know. I think they said it's the toughest to kill. I don't remember. Whatever. I totally forgot, but it's one of the toughest ones to kill, essentially, and stuff like that. And essentially, before Emilia leaves the trial, because McKenna's like, okay, you completed your first trial. There's 2 more trials you have to take. And Emilia's kind of shocked. She's like, 2 more trials? And I'm like, wait, why would you be shocked? But then again, I remember, no, I totally forgot, because in this alliteration, or this, time zone where Subaru's currently in, he never did tell Emilia that there's 2 other trials. Like that one time he did. So she kind of looks a little shocked about that, but it looks like she's confident to handle it, and stuff like that. And I like the fact that Echidna's kind of just throwing insults at her to see if, like, is this girl breaking down? Is she actually, like, focused and stuff like that? And it's funny because she's like, Echidna at one point, she's like, I hate you. And Emilia's like, yeah, I know you do. But it doesn't really, your insults ain't gonna work on me. I'm like, I feel like, yes, she hates you because she's trying to make you break, but 2, I think she also hates you because you stole Subaru from her, essentially. Which, again, I find hilarious because Echidna's being like a jealous, girl. She's being extremely jealous, which is in her title. She's being jealous that Subaru chose another girl over her. So that's all funny. The one thing is too, we cut back to the outside. Shima kind of tells the whole thing about, the whole recreation about the sanctuary. We don't know what Shima said, or essentially we got a little bit of what Shima said from last week, but essentially that's when it seems like she's gonna go be laid to rest. Ram and the other Ryuzu, the one in the black cloak, are gonna take her somewhere to essentially lay her to rest for good, and I'm guessing that's where she can pass away. So yeah, and then Subaru, Otto, and Garfield go confront Roswell, who is in his regular design where he's got the makeup and everything. And it's funny because, Subaru like mentioned, like, why are you looking like that? And Roswell's like, well, you said the next time you see me, make sure I'm in my makeup, essentially. So yeah, that whole thing happened. So yeah, now, and then the episode is the thing is, Roswell is shocked that Subaru has come this far, and essentially the reason why is obviously because of Otto. And essentially, Roswell's like, I guess I'm gonna have to keep a more eye on you, Otto son. Alright, Otto Kun. And essentially Subaru ends off the episode by saying, to surrender, because now he knows, thanks to Shima, the real reason why the sanctuary was created. And that's where the episode ends off. So yeah, we're gonna find out more, probably more of the reason why the sanctuary was created. Yeah, but other than that, it was a really good episode, very emotional end to the Emilia backstory, because hey, it isn't a ReZero, story if there isn't no sad elements. But yeah, it seems like Emilia's gonna stay in the sanctuary, take a little break. She did start crying after she went back. She came back from the sanctuary, so you kind of feel bad for her after experiencing all of that. But it seems like Emilia's gonna stay in the sanctuary and complete the next 2 trials. So yeah, but again, good episode. I enjoyed the video. I enjoyed the episode. So if you like the episode, I'm so messed up. If you like the video, leave a like. Put in the comment section your thoughts on what you saw in this episode. Hit that subscribe button if you want to get more ReZero content. Until then, guys, I'm gonna get out of here. Hopefully you guys are staying safe, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Till then, guys, peace.